So by the third hearing, things were getting a little more intense. And in this video, I am going to talk about every time Hee-jin got busted in court. First, a brief intro to the lawsuit. Hybe was basically pushing to cancel their shareholder agreement with Hee-jin and another former exec. They are saying they broke company trust. But at the same time, Min had filed her own lawsuit, arguing that she still had the right to sell her shares back to Hybe for a set price based on their original deal. She wants money, and not a small sum. We are talking about up to $26 million. The court ended up merging both lawsuits into one, since the issues were so connected. Now, this is also the reason why all of this became so confusing, but don't worry, you clicked on the right video. Plus, this video is going to have my personal opinions as well. First, Hee-jin was writing letters on behalf of newjeans' parent. Hybe is saying that the protest emails that were supposedly sent by the parents of newjeans weren't actually written by the parent. According to Hybe, Hee-jin and her close team, a former VP Lee Sang-woo, were the ones who drafted these emails behind the scenes and then had them sent as if the parents wrote them. They even included phrases that Min often uses, like suspicious, and started the emails with formal contract language, something a normal parent probably wouldn't do. Hybe claims there were instructions like, tell Danielle to send this to her mom, or have Hyun adjust this message for her dad. You know what that means. It was all coordinated, not a spontaneous thing from concerned parents. And there are text messages that support Hybe claims. Min was pulling the strings in a more strategic, company-level way, and that's why Hybe used these messages as part of their case that she overstepped her CEO role. Hybe says this is why they decided to investigate Min and use the penalty call option, basically a legal way to cancel her shares if she breached the contract. You know, when this all started, the go-to defense from fans, including me, was that newjeans were just minors caught in a game way bigger than them. The blame was placed on the adults, Min, Hee-jin, Hybe, and even the parents to some extent. But now the narrative's shifting again. People are saying even the parents were being used by Min. And look, I'm not fully buying that. The girls are minors. Sure, but the parents? They're not. They're grown adults signing papers, talking to CEOs. We can't keep excusing their role like they were just helpless bystanders. If Hee-jin really did guide or draft those emails, that's manipulative, sure. But the parents still hit send. They still chose to be part of that move. You don't get to write a formal protest with legal terms in it and then go, oops, I was just following instructions. So yeah. Maybe the outrage wasn't as organic as it looked, but that doesn't mean the parents had zero agency. At some point, you've got to stop treating everyone like they had no idea what was going on. Second, she prioritized herself over the group. One of Hybe's most aggressive claims was this: Hee-jin tried to steal newjeans. And no, they didn't say it lightly, they came with a whole timeline. In May 2023, Min got a court injunction to stop Hybe from firing her as Ador's CEO. At the time, it looked like a power move, and now Hybe's saying that was step one in a bigger plan to fully take over the group. They argued that Min wasn't putting newjeans first, she was putting herself first. That every move she made, including legal ones, was about gaining control. And the boldest part, Hybe said, we've got evidence. If we're wrong, explain how it's fake. They straight up dared her to prove them wrong. Whether you're on Hybe's side or not, this moment set the tone. They're not treating Min as just a rebellious creative director. They're treating her like a calculated threat. Then they added that the only reason they can't show the full receipts is because the evidence isn't allowed to be disclosed publicly. So basically, trust us, we've got the proof. But Hee-jin's side said timeline doesn't add up at all. The court injunction protecting her job? That happened in May, way before all the major drama. Hybe tried to fire her in August, and she officially used her exit clause in November. newjeans didn't say a word about wanting to leave her until after that. Her team is saying Hybe is twisting the timeline, taking things that happened after she left and pretending they were all part of some master plan to snatch the group, but her actions told a different story. Newjeans become orphans. One of the most talked about lines from Hee-jin's side? They said newjeans became orphans after she was removed as CEO, claiming the girls weren't getting proper care or protection from anyone. And listen, I get what they're trying to say. The girls were stuck between Hybe and Ador, not really knowing who was in charge, probably confused and stressed. But calling them orphans? That's dramatic. They weren't completely abandoned. They had staff, management, and a massive company behind them. What they didn't have was emotional consistency. And who is responsible for that? Parents, Hee-jin, Hybe, you decide. So while I don't agree with the orphan metaphor, I do agree that in all this corporate tug of war, the actual artists, the minors at the time everyone claimed to care about, seemed to come last on the priority list. But calling global superstars with a full team behind them orphans? Yeah, that didn't land. Korean netizens basically turned the whole thing into a meme. I was watching a Korean YouTuber talking about how this became a meme in Korea. Stuff like, voluntary orphan. So your mom left and now you're calling yourself abandoned? Or, did Hee-jin run away from home and orphan herself? It was roast central. Some people even said, if you have no evidence, just sell emotions. Because to them, the whole thing felt like a sad story without receipts. At the end of the day, the orphan line was meant to pull on heartstrings, but instead, it pulled in jokes, memes, and a whole lot of eye rolls. Consent to use KakaoTalk messages. Hee-jin's side tried to block Hybe from using KakaoTalk messages as evidence. They said the messages were taken from her old work computer. She never gave consent and even sent a letter in 2024 asking Hybe to stop using that data. Sounds serious, right? Until you remember? She literally showed her own KakaoTalk receipts at her press conference months ago. Back in April, she stood in front of cameras, pulled up her chats, and went, "Boom, here's proof Hybe was plotting against me." So now in court, when Hybe tries to use their own batch of messages to make a point, suddenly it's, "This is illegal, unethical, emotional damage." Girl, you can't drop your own screenshots like it's a K-pop diss track and then scream privacy when the other side claps back. If we're playing the KakaoTalk game, just know, it works both ways. Ayelet and even Sakura got dragged into the mix, thanks to Hee-jin's side bringing them up again, and it sparked a whole new wave of debate. Min claimed that the accusation of Ayelet copying newjeans wasn't some premeditated move. But Hybe has receipts that suggest otherwise. We're talking KakaoTalk messages she's desperately trying to keep out of court. Why? Because they're explosive. One statement even included a complaint about Hybe orders pushing Sakura and others first. All the way back in 2019. Fans were like, why are we still talking about this? People are already exhausted, and this just added fuel to the fire. Min's been trying to play it down publicly, acting like Hybe's narrative about her stealing newjeans, tampering, and targeting Ayelet was just fiction. But now we know the real reason she didn't want those chats revealed. Turns out, as early as February 2024, Min and her inner circle were already plotting. Like, actually plotting, media strategies, damage control, talking about escaping from Hybe, and even dragging Ayelet before they had a chance to breathe post-debut. They name-dropped Bang Si-hyuk too, saying stuff like, "We want to ruin him before BTS comes back." Then on March 29th, she met with all 5 newjeans moms at Adore HQ. And no, this wasn't a casual meeting. It included full-on documents and a PowerPoint plan to accuse Hybe of plagiarism and break away. This isn't speculation, it's right there in leaked meeting notes and group chats. The April 3rd protest emails from the moms accusing Ayelet of copying newjeans? Yeah, Min was behind them, editing, proofreading, and guiding every word. Not some random mom-led action like she claimed in public. And even after Belift replied to those emails, not once, not twice, but 3 times, Min went on and told the public they never responded. Straight up lie. The KakaoTalks also exposed how she and her VP were calculating the cost of pulling newjeans out of Hybe, throwing around figures like 600 billion won, and shopping around for investors to fund a buyout. This wasn't just, "I'm frustrated with my boss." It was a full blueprint to hijack newjeans and turn Adore into a solo empire. Now we get why she's fighting so hard to keep those messages out of court. But honestly, too late. They're already out, and legal experts are saying they'll likely be accepted as evidence. So when Min said Hybe's claims are just fiction, these receipts are saying otherwise. And let's be real. She's not just losing in court, she's already losing in the court of public opinion. This was just a quick breakdown of what went down in the latest court hearing. I've already covered that in a separate deep dive video. Go check that out for all the details. And thank you so much for watching.